Hello again, this is the course of computer programming, and we are going to continue the new chapter, which is about the multi-dimensional arrays. And I'm going to explain one more section related to array lists. Yeah, so will start the course, which is dealing with the array. You know already about array. And before we deal with the multi-dimensional arrays, I would like to explain more about arrays in methods. I think in your exam, you already learned some problems related to the array in the methods. In this chapter, I would like to explain more what happened if you put the arrays in the methods. Okay? And the multi-dimensional arrays will be in the section 2, and I will explain a little bit about the array list. So we have known about the arrays and how if we want to put arrays in a method. There are three things that we will learn in this chapter, which is about passing array to method and returning array in a method and searching an array. Let's say we have these arrays in a method. So you have the parameter. So the parameter will be here, and this is the parameter in the method. We have like this one, print array. Okay, when we have one parameter which is a list, and the list is a collection of numbers 3, 1, 2, 6, 4, 2, and it is in the array. And whenever we put this into this array, yeah, what will happen? Okay, you can do with this way, or you can do with the other way, like this one. For example, I would like to call the print array, and the new array will be like new integer with the square bracket, and we can put the initial array, which is 3, 1, 2, 6, 4, 2. Okay, so when we put this kind of array, the array which is a collection of elements, we want to do the for loop from I, which is from 0 until the length. Okay? And then let's say I want to print. So you can print the array like the one that we usually do on the array section. Now, we need to understand if we pass by the value. Okay? So Java uses pass by a value to pass arguments to a method. There are important differences between passing a value. Okay? We want to pass a value of the primitive data types and passing arrays. So it's different. What is primitive data type? Primitive data type is just the common data type like integer, double, character, string. Okay? But arrays is a collection of the primitive data type. So integer with square bracket. So it is a collection of integer. A parameter of primitive type value, the actual value is passed. So changing the value of local parameter inside the method does not affect the value. Okay, so does not affect the value of the variable outside the method. Okay, so if you have a primitive value in the argument, then the local parameter inside the method does not affect the value of the variable outside the method. But for an array type, the value of the parameter contains a reference to an array. Okay? So the value of the parameter contains a reference to an array. So this reference is passed to the method. We call it later, this reference. So when a reference is passed to the method, any changes to the array that occur inside the method will affect the original array that was passed as the argument. So when you change the array in the method, it will affect the array outside the method. So it's not the same with the primitive type value. Let's say this one. We have a simple example. Okay, we have a class test. for this purpose. And we have a main method, and let's have x equal to 1. Okay. And then let's have the integer y with an array, and the size of the array is 10. So we want to access m. M is a method, and the method will have two arguments, which is x and y. So x is a primitive data type, and y is an array. So the array here is empty, okay? It's empty because y is nothing, okay? And then x is 1, okay? So the value is 1. Now let's see. If we access this method, and then we have two parameters, which is the primitive data type, and then the other is the array. If you change this number into the value 1001, and then you change the numbers into 5555 for the index 0. Okay, you know the array has the index, and index 0, index 1, index 2, it depends on the size. So we have the size is 10. So there will be a 10 position, or there will be 10 indexes. And I want to put index 0 as a value 5555. And after I finish with this method, it will return back to this one. And then I will print, and I will print. What is the result? Okay. So let's see. I put one file in your in the Google Drive. Oh, sorry. I guess it is in section 7. I'm not sure whether I put this one. Oh, okay. I think I do not put here. Anyway, if you have this file, you can just copy and open your Java. Open your Eclipse, and then I will create a new package. So the package name will be section 7, and let's see. So am I using this one? Oh no. Okay, so let's see. I just used the example here. Let's say I have one class, one Java class, which is test. So I will make a new Java class here, and the name is test. Okay. Yeah, I don't need to use the main method. Let's just give in this one. Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess it is the problem. Yeah, last time there was one student who asked me, Professor, I have problem because when I try to get the code from the PPT, and then I just copy and paste to the Eclipse, and there was an error. Yeah, it's the same. If you just copy and paste the code in the PPT, there might be some errors because of the encoding problems. So the text in the Eclipse is not the same with the text in the PPT. So there might be some issues. If you have those kind of issues, maybe you need to fix it with a way like what I did before. You can save the file in the UTF format, and then you can delete some not important text. Okay. So in this case, yeah, you can see x is 1, and then y is an array with the size of 10, and then yeah, you can check this one. We have the parameter numbers and the numbers, which is an array, and the updated number will become 1001, and the updated number for the index 0 is 5555. Now, if you run this, okay, what happened after you access the method is something that is different with what you understand about the primitive values. The primitive value here, x, is the same with the original value, which is 1. So the primitive value will not be changed. And if you know y is integer, is an array of integer, but there is no value. Okay, no value at all. And how can we know this one? So after we have no value in this integer, we attach the new value is 555 into the index 0. And when we return back to the original method or the main method, when you try to print this y, then the value will become 5555. Okay, so that's what we call as the reference. So that's the meaning of this one. If you put the parameter with an array, it will return based on the reference. So the value inside the method will affect to the value outside the method. Okay, then what we can learn from this part is when you invoke the mx, y, the value of x and y are passed to number and numbers. So since y contains the reference value to the array, the numbers now contain the same reference value to the same array. Okay, so when you have the numbers here, so the reference will be the same with the reference in the method. So this kind of reference will appear in your computer memory, so you cannot see the heap like this one. Okay, you cannot see this kind of heap, but yeah, that will happen in your computer like this kind of way, like this kind of heap. So the reference will follow the heap, and this reference is also follow the heap. So this reference is from the method, and this reference is from the main method. So we want to have one reference every time we update the value. Every time we update the value, then both of the reference will be updated. Okay. So if we have a new numbers here, okay, so it will be updated. It will update the other reference. But when you have a value in the method m, so this number is only updating in the particular method. So the scope is only in the local variable. But when you use the array, it will update all the arrays. Okay. So you can check the text pass array. We already have the examples in the Eclipse. Okay, the text pass array. The idea is also the same with what we already checked before. Okay. When we have a value like the 1 and 2, so I want to swap. Okay. Swap, do you know swap? Swap, it means we want to exchange. Okay, we want to change the value. Before we invoke the swap, so the array is A0 and A1. And then I want to swap A0 and A1. And then after we invoke the swap, it will be A0 and A1. What about if I, before we invoke the swap first 2 in array, here you will have this one. And then you have swap first 2 in array if you just put A. A is the array. Okay, so this is, if you use this one, it means you just use the primitive value. Okay, please remember, this is only the primitive value because you want to access in the particular number. But if you use this one, you want to access the array. Now you can have two methods. The first method is swap with 2 parameters n1 and n2, which is a primitive value. And you have the swap first 2 in array, and the parameter will be an array. I will let you know this method, it appears in the outline. So in your outline, there will be 3 methods: main, swap, and swap first 2 in array. And you can check if it is swapped, then you can just swap the value. But if you choose the swap first 2 in array, you will swap the array. Okay, so the array will be indicated as the square bracket like this one. Now you can check if you run this one. Before you invoke the swap, the value is 1 and 2. And after you invoke the swap, the value is still 1 and 2. Why? Okay, before we invoke the swap, the value is 0, index 0 and index 1. And after you invoke the swap, the index value, the index 0 and 1 still the same. Because we want to swap, and the swapping happens only in the particular method, so it does not affect to the array. However, when we do with this one, we want to invoke the array. So this is the array. When we invoke the array, when we change to the array, so because we are using this array format, okay, array 0 and array 1, so we want to swap. Once we swap like this one, then yeah, it affects the index 0 and it affects to the index 1. So that's why the result has been changed. So you know swap, yeah? So swap means you want to exchange. When you exchange, you cannot exchange n1 equals to n2 directly, because when you exchange n1 and n2, you need a temporary variable. If you don't have the temporary variable, in this case n1 will be the same value of n2, but what about n2? Okay. So n2 should be the same with n1, because now n1 becomes n2. So if you put this one n2 equals to n1, then what happened? So the n1, because it is a sequence, right? N1 equals to n2, and then you go back, you go to the next, which is n2 equals to n1. Now n1 has been the same as the n2. Okay, so you cannot use this way for the swapping. So we put a new variable, which is temp, in order to save the value of n1, and then we put the n1 equals to n2, and then the n2 will be the same as the variable temp. So that's the way to swap the values. Now, this is the explanation. Okay, when you have the reference, when you have the reference, which is an array, you can, whenever you update it, the reference, it will follow the heap. Okay, so the heap here, whenever you change the value here as the index 1 and index 0, it is 1 and 2, so it will affect to the array, and it will affect to the main method that of the it is the array in the main method, and this is the array in the method, in the first swap first two in array. So those are different, but they are in the same reference. That's why whenever you change the value in the array, it will affect to the other array. But what about this one? When you have the swap method, it is only the primitive value, so it will not affect to the array. Now, what if, okay, what if you have the return value? The return value here, if I want to put it as an array, okay, then let's say I want to reverse. Reverse means I want to change the value. If the first number is here, I want to put it into the last number in the array for array result. And then if you have the second one, it will show here. If you have the third one, it will show here. If you have this one, then it will be here. If you have this one, and it will be here. This one will be here, and this one will be here, for example. And then the last one, it will be in the first. Okay, so we want to reverse. And how can we reverse? This one is using the for loop, and I will let I and j. Okay, so we have the two variables. The I will start from 0, and j, it will start from the length -1. Okay. And then if I is still less than the list length, then I plus plus, and then j minus minus. So the I will be added. Okay. So the I will be added, and then the j will be decreasing. And finally, the result will be written, and the return value will be an integer with an array. Now, if I have the integer list 1, okay, and then I have this value 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I can just do the reverse according to the list one. And according to the list one, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it will be written as a new list, and the list will be reversed. So let's see, how can we trace the reverse method? At the first time, we have the list one, and the list one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the list two is the reverse. Okay. At the first time, we want to have the list length. List length is how many size you want to have in this array. So we have the list, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so this is list one, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then the result is a new list, a new array with the size of 6. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we go to this one. I equals to 0, okay, and j equals to result dot length minus 1. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the length is 6, and then we have minus 1. So the j will be 5. And now we can check if I equals to 0 and j equals to 5. Now we will have a condition. I is less than list the length. So I 0 is less than 6. Yes, it is true. Then we will do this one. Result j equals to list 1. So j is 5 equals to list I. I is 0. So now it becomes 1. Okay. So because list still less than 6, so we put this one 1 equals to 1. And then what happened next is now I will be added by 1 and j will be minus by 1. So the I will become 1 and j will become 4. Again, we will check I less than 6, yes. Then the number 2 will become the element in the index 5. Sorry, index 4. And then we will add I with 1, and then we will decrease j with 1. So the condition is still true. I is less than 6. Then we will put the 3, which is in index 2, into the result in index 3. And then we will do the same. I plus plus, it becomes 3, and then j becomes 2, decrease, minus minus. I is still less than 3, I is less than 6, then we will do the same for which is the element in the index 3, and it goes to the index 2 in the variable result. Then we have I, which is plus plus, so it becomes 4, and j minus minus, it becomes 1. And I is less than 6, yes, then we will just do the assignment, return result j equals to this I. And then we will add again I plus plus, j becomes 0. Now 5 is still less than 6, then we will have 6. And the last element will become the 6 in the first element on the variable result. And then after I becomes 6, so we will check, yeah, 6 is not less than 6. So exit loop, and we will return the result. So the result will go to the list number 2. Okay, so list number 2 will have the same value of the result. So we can check this example. Okay, if you want to check how can we count the occurrence of each letter, you can check the count letters in array. Count letters in array. Yeah, in this example, we are going to create array. Okay, what is the meaning by create an array? If you click this one, in the create array, you will have an array of characters. So there are 100 characters, and for the 100 characters, so from the index 0 until the length, you want to create a random character. What is a random character? So random character, I put here, there is one class. This is random character, and then cat random lowercase letters. So here you have, okay, there is one method, we call it the method inir class. So you can access this kind of method. So we call this is the static method. Okay. So we have the get random lowercase letter, and I want to generate a random letter from A to Z. Get random character. What is the meaning by random character? Get random character. Okay. We have two parameters, ch1 and ch2, and for every of the values, I would like to make it as a random. So ch1 plus made random multiplied by ch2 minus ch1 plus 1. Yeah, you already learned before about these random values. So the ch is the character, and the character can be in integer value. So based on the integer value, we can generate any character from A to Z. So we have a random character here, and then we want to return back the characters. After we have the characters, I want to display the characters. Okay, how can we display the characters? First, we want to get the values of every characters. But okay, there is one function here. If the line, if the line is already 20, let's print line. So print line means go down or change the line. But if it is not 20, then just print. Okay. We will see later. After you have the display characters, I want to count letters. Okay. What is count the letters? Count the letters, you already know. If we want to tally the characters, so you already learned how to tally the characters. So tallying the characters means you want to get A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and so on. And all those should be saved in a particular index in the in an array. Okay, so here we have counts as an array, and we put 26 because 26 is the number of characters. Okay, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. There are 26 characters, and for each of the characters, let's put it into the variable counts, which is an array, and there will be 26 characters. So if I know the characters of I, okay, what is the character of I? For example, if it's B. So B minus A, it means it will be located in the index 1. What about the characters A? A minus A, then it will be 0. Then it will be added by 1 for every of the index in the characters. After I got all these things, then I will return back to the counts. So after you return back to counts, yeah, the counts here will have one array, and you will print. What will be the printing here is the number of characters based on this random. So if I run this, yeah, you can see this is the random generated characters. Okay, we have 100 characters, A, O, W, V, H, B, S, and so on. Okay. And after we have these characters, I want to know how many generated characters based on these random values. Okay, there are 7 of A, there are 4 of B, there are 3 of C, there are 7 of D, there are 7 of E, 1 of F, and so on. Okay, so if you run again, yeah, the value will be different because it is random character. Okay. Okay, I think I will stop here and I will continue with the other section on the other video. Okay, so thank you very much for listening. See you on the next video.